Sorry about that. Got a bit of a cold. Here's Frodo, or my hobbit, Drongo actually, standing at the top of Amun Sul, and we are going to do part 4 of Frodo's journey, finally, after several years. And we're going to head down the mountain, and the shortcut is just here. You see this bush? There's a bush here that just tells us where to go. We can run straight down here. And we're going to have a quick escape down the mountain. Okay, so we're running away from the Nazgul. The Nazgul have attacked. Aragorn has managed to chase them off. But in the meantime, we're all running away. And so the deal is, of course, that the party have to use the back road, stay off the main road, and hopefully avoid detection by the 9 riders. I think we'll go down here, shall we? Pretty good. Okay, so that means we're going to head out the back way and stay off the road. I haven't actually been up here before, so let's run up here and have a look. This is a place you don't actually go in the game. But we're going to stay well clear of the road, so this is how we're going to go. There are some various ruins in this area. This is the Lone Lands, of course. And oh, let's get the overlay off as well, so that we can just have a good look around. So we're up here. There's Amun Sul. Let's see if we can get boiled into the Hobbit's head. There's Amun Sul. We've got a good view of it if I just pause the video. Ruined, of course. And we are heading this way to get ourselves now. I haven't been this way before. This is all completely new to me. I wonder what happens if we go up here. This is going to take it. Is this going to take us into the... I don't think we can go that way. We're going to have to go this way. It's a whole new... We might get warned we're going to the wrong spot. I have a feeling the Ettenmoors are up here or something, but I don't see how we're going to get back into Lone Lands, because that's all cliffs on the right hand side. But we might figure out a way. Where's this going? Lots of Krebine up here to attack and kill. There's an orc. And I don't think there is going to be any way out of here. Can't climb up there. Doesn't look like there's any way underneath. Wow. This video is going to end up longer than I thought, because we've come the wrong way. That's what happens when you don't bring a ranger with you. Oh, look at this texturing in the rocks. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? It's bizarre. I've just never been up here before. Here's a mountain we can climb, or something we can climb, but what we're really trying to do is get back to the Lone Lands. I think we're going to end up in Angmar if we're not careful. Where is this leading us? Suppose we could get the map out and have a look and see where we are. Cliffs all around. There's no way out of here, is there? Wow. Are we going around the big loop? Can we go that way? We cannot. That's amazing. Oh, there's back to Amun Sul, so we've gone around the loop. And there's that dude. Okay, so we did a big circuit there, and maybe that's not the best thing to do. Anyway, while we're trying to get ourselves back on course, this would have been a good place to hide, of course, while the Nazgul were attacking Amun Sul. But caught like a rat in a trap, though, if they'd figured out that's where the party was. Anyway, let's get back on track. We may have to do a bit of a cut in the video. I don't know. Depends whether everybody wants to watch a 20-minute video of me getting lost. But I just had to go up there because I've never seen that spot before. So let's try and get ourselves... We went up there, did we? We're going to get lost if we go this way, are we? No, I think this is okay. Looks like we're climbing out this time. So using the back roads, using the back paths, guided by Aragorn hopefully, and we're going to head up and come across a few old Númenórean ruins. Of course, this was all part of the northern kingdom of Númenor. The king had his seat in Evendom. Where are we here? This is all pretty incredible. Where are we trying to get to? We don't want to go that way. We're going to go this way. There's Amun Sul still up there. Sorry everyone. Hope you're finding this as interesting as I am, because I've never been here before. But we are going to have to get ourselves back on track. We can't go anywhere that way, I think. So we're just going to go all the way across, head back a little bit towards the road. Try not to get ourselves killed. Don't want to make anybody dizzy either with all the movement of the camera. Oh god, we don't want to go down there. Let's take the path of least resistance. We could... He is a burglar, so he has got a jumping ability, but... Anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the books. Has anybody read Lord of the Rings, or they just watched the movies and played the game? You really have to read it. It's an outstanding piece of writing. Some people might not say the best literature, but it was written very specifically. That's the interesting thing about it. It's more of an exercise by Tolkien than anything else. And I think that when we think about Lord of the Rings as, if we think about Lord of the Rings as a linguistic project rather than a work of literature, you're getting closer to the mark. So there's his elven languages, of course, but the other thing that's most interesting about Lord of the Rings, there's a couple of things that are interesting. One is that the book itself was never a trilogy. It was always a single book or a single volume of 6 books, not 3 books. But for some reason it kick-started the whole idea of people writing trilogies as fantasy literature or fantasy stories. And that has a couple of ramifications, of course, because you haven't finished your story when you've written your first book. And these days now with social media and all the rest of it, you can't help but be influenced, I think, as an author, by what people say about your first book. So it's obviously going to affect how you write book 2 and book 3 of your trilogy, and I wonder whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. The one thing that's definitely true is that Tolkien didn't have that problem because he finished the entire book before it was published. I guess he probably took some advice from his family, people who might have read the book. His group of fellow writers had a look at some of the manuscript. C.S. Lewis, I think, was quite influential. But in the end, the book was written, completed, and published, and done. No opinions were provided to Tolkien about whether it was worth publishing or not. He just published it, and off it went. So that's one interesting thing about the book. It was never a trilogy, and of course, because it was never a trilogy, there was never any kind of influence on the writing of it. The other thing that's really interesting about the book is, in terms of a linguistic project, is that it's written very much in Anglo-Saxon English. I don't know if you're aware, but English is really formed from two languages. Old English, or Anglo-Saxon English, it's the first language. And the Romance language is French, Italian. They're called the Romance, generally. They came in with the Norman conquest. When the Normans came in and basically took over. And so the Romance languages came in and really changed English completely, the language. So what we find is that Lord of the Rings is written very much, I mean, it can't be written entirely in Anglo-Saxon, and there's plenty of words that came in with the Normans and the Romance words that are used in it, but very much the style of sentence construction is Anglo-Saxon in nature, and there's very little use of the kind of nominalization that you get with Romance language verbs, that kind of thing. So, interesting one, and it's what in many ways gives Lord of the Rings its feel as an old-fashioned saga. The language is carefully chosen to be a bit like, to be England's Beowulf, or to be England's Cathelred of Cooley, to be a legend for England. And in order to do that, Tolkien felt he had to write it in an Anglo-Saxon language. And of course he invented the languages of the elves and the dwarfs and the dark speech of Mordor, in order to give the whole thing an air of verisimilitude. So anyway, when you read it, you've got to bear these things in mind. There's a lot of good stuff in the writing of it, and there's many parts of the book that are a little strange at times, because at times Tolkien goes off on a bit of a limb with some of the stuff, doesn't he? Tom Bombadil's sequence, left out of the movies, of course, left out of the radio series, left out of nearly all depictions, as being essentially irrelevant to the story. And I guess you suppose it would be. Really, it doesn't advance the plot. And the only thing it really provides is a few weapons for the halflings, and a little bit of they get a little bit of interest from in the old forest. They find out a little bit about the old forest, which helps them out a little bit later when they meet up with the Ents, I suppose. So they identify a little bit more with Treebeard, having met Tom Bombadil and having passed through the old forest, perhaps. But of course, Merry was already living next to the old forest, so he knew it pretty well anyway. So anyway, here we are. We're coming up to the last bridge. Hope you enjoyed that little diatribe about our little trip along the road of talking about the Lord of the Rings. I'm coming down to the last bridge, and we're going to see if our... We may have to turn off a few of the frills. These frills make actually following the Hobbit a little hard, but on the other hand, it looks great. All of the bushes and grasses. So, before crossing the last bridge, I'm making the dash to the ford. So the party had to stop and make sure the road was clear before they crossed the last bridge. And I'll have to check the chapter in the book again, because in in the movies they certainly go into the troll shows before they meet Arwen. And I'll need to check the book. I just need to go back and check, because these things confuse you. But I have a feeling that Glorfindel met the party here, just short of the last bridge, and Glorfindel picks up Frodo, who's sick with the Morgul blade in him, and rides across the last bridge and makes the dash to the ford all in one journey, which is what we're going to do next. Anyway, we may take a detour and see if we can find Bilbo's trolls. I'll have to go and have a look for them and see if I can find out exactly where they are. They are in there somewhere in the troll shows. And we'll have a look and see if I can find them. Sorry about the cold, sorry about the nasally voice and stuffed voice, but I hope you enjoyed that as a journey. I'm not going to make this video again. We got a little bit lost, but we had to run around and avoid the ring wraiths. And so the next stage of the journey is to the fords of the Eisen, and not the fords of the Eisen, to the ford short of Rivendell. I need to check out the names of these things. Anyway, sorry about being a bit bunged up and glum and all the rest of it. Just had a cold, been sick for a week, so forgive me. Hopefully everybody enjoys the video, and we'll see you next time for the next stage of the journey.